Let me tell you something, life isn't a straight road. It's full of twists, turns, and detours. You're going to hit walls, face setbacks, and at times feel like the ground is falling from under you. That's the nature of the journey. But here's the truth, falling isn't the end. Staying down is. You have the power to rebuild yourself no matter how broken, lost, or defeated you feel. You've got to embrace the work. Rebuilding yourself isn't about pretending you're okay or putting on a mask for the world. It's about getting real with yourself. Look in the mirror and face the person staring back at you. That person has flaws, has made mistakes, has endured pain. But that person is also a warrior. That person is undefeated because they woke up today with breath in their lungs and fire in their soul. Start where you are. You might think, I don't have the strength or I don't have the resources, but listen, you've got everything you need within you. Your mind is a powerful tool, but you have to train it. Stop telling yourself you can't and start showing yourself you can. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you're laying a brick. And brick by brick, you'll rebuild the foundation of your life. And don't be afraid to tear down what's broken. Sometimes you've got to let go of who you were to become who you're meant to be. That means leaving behind the toxic habits, the negative self-talk, the relationships that drain you. Growth requires sacrifice, but it's worth it because you're building something stronger, something unshakable. Let's talk about discipline. Motivation will come and go, but discipline will take you places your emotions never could. Commit to yourself. Show up every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. It's in those moments when it's uncomfortable, when it's painful, that you grow. You don't just rebuild, you fortify. And don't forget, rebuilding yourself isn't just about you. You've got people watching, your family, your friends, maybe even strangers who draw strength from your story. Your comeback can be someone else's inspiration. When you rise, you give others permission to rise too. So do it for them, but most importantly, do it for you. You owe it to yourself to live fully, boldly, and unapologetically. Here's the secret: the process of rebuilding never ends. You'll always find areas to grow, to improve, to strengthen. That's the beauty of being human. Every day is another opportunity to become a better version of yourself. So get up, start now. Take that first step, and then another, and then another. Because you, my friend, are unstoppable. The world hasn't seen your best yet, but it will. Keep building, keep climbing, keep becoming. The masterpiece isn't finished, but it's already magnificent. Now go show them. Show yourself what you're made of. Life will knock you down. That's not a question of if, it's a matter of when. But here's what they don't tell you: those moments, the ones where you feel like you've hit rock bottom, are the moments that define you. They are the ones that teach you what you're made of. Failure isn't the end, it's the beginning of something new. It's the universe's way of shaking you up, breaking you down, and saying, let's see how much you want it. Think about it. When have you learned the most in life? Was it during your easy days when everything was going your way? Or was it when you faced challenges that pushed you to your limits, that made you question everything, that forced you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible? Those hard times, those are your real teachers. And guess what? Failure isn't personal. It doesn't care who you are, how talented you are, or where you come from. It happens to everyone. But what separates those who stay down from those who rise is how you respond to it. Do you let it define you? Or do you use it to refine you? Here's the secret: every failure contains a gift. It's an invitation to grow, to adapt, to get better. It's not a judgment on your worth, it's a challenge to your will. If you can shift your mindset to see failure as part of the process, you stop fearing it. You start leaning into it. Because the truth is, the only people who never fail are the ones who never try. So the next time life throws you a curveball, don't shrink. Stand tall. Learn from it, grow through it, and show yourself what you're capable of. Every fall is a step closer to success if you choose to get back up. The first step in rebuilding is looking yourself in the mirror and being brutally honest. Not with anyone else, just with yourself. It's about confronting the hard truths you've been avoiding, the ones that make your chest tighten and your heart race. Maybe it's a mistake you made, a habit you've been holding on to, or a fear that's been paralyzing you. Whatever it is, facing it is where the real work begins. Think of it like renovating an old house. You can't just paint over cracked walls or ignore the broken foundation and expect it to stand. You have to strip everything down to its bare bones. You have to examine every inch and be willing to confront the rot and the damage, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. That's how you make space for something stronger to be built. When you avoid facing your reality, you're only delaying your progress. You're building on shaky ground. But when you stand in your truth, no matter how messy, no matter how painful, you reclaim your power. You take ownership of your story. And when you own it, you can rewrite it. This isn't about beating yourself up or dwelling on mistakes. It's about acknowledging where you are so you can figure out where you want to go. It's about separating who you are now from who you're capable of becoming. Facing your reality is an act of courage, and every act of courage is a step toward transformation. So take a deep breath, look within. You're not defined by the mistakes you've made or the struggles you faced. You're defined by what you do next. And the moment you choose to face your reality, you've already started to rebuild. Rebuilding doesn't require perfection, it requires action. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you look at how far you think you need to go. You might see a long road ahead, and the thought of it can paralyze you. But here's the truth: you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. Start where you are with what you have right now. Stop waiting for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Life will never stop throwing challenges your way, and the stars will never perfectly align. Waiting only delays your growth. What matters is taking that first step, no matter how small, no matter how uncertain you feel. Progress is progress, even if it's inch by inch. You might think you're not ready, not strong enough, or not capable enough, but you are. The tools you need are already within you. Strength doesn't come from knowing the whole path ahead, it comes from stepping forward, even when you can't see the entire road. With every small step, you gain clarity. With every action, you build momentum. It's like planting a seed. At first, it's just a tiny speck in the soil, barely visible, and you might doubt anything will come of it. But with time, care, and persistence, it grows. That's how rebuilding works. It starts small, maybe with a simple change like getting out of bed when you don't feel like it, or committing to one positive habit a day. Those small actions add up, and before you know it, you've transformed. Don't underestimate the power of starting. The greatest achievements, the most inspiring transformations, they all began with a single decision to act. So no matter where you are right now, know this: you're exactly where you need to be to begin. Start messy, start scared, start uncertain, just start. Every step you take today is one step closer to becoming the person you're meant to be. Think of it like clearing out a garden. You can't plant fresh seeds and expect them to thrive if the soil is overrun with weeds. Those weeds are negative habits, self-doubt, toxic relationships, are taking up space and energy that could be used to grow something beautiful. The first step is pulling them out, no matter how deeply rooted they are. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable. But it's necessary for growth. Letting go isn't about forgetting or erasing the past. It's about making peace with it. It's about saying, this is a part of my story, but it doesn't define me. I'm choosing to move forward, and forward means cutting ties with anything that holds you back. It's freeing yourself from the weight of resentment, fear, and stagnation. This might mean saying goodbye to people who drain your energy or no longer align with your vision for the future. It might mean breaking cycles of self-sabotage or leaving behind the comfort zone you've clung to for so long. Whatever it is, remember, this letting go isn't a loss. It's a gain. It's making space for new opportunities, healthier relationships, and a stronger version of yourself. And don't rush the process. Take your time to grieve what you're letting go of if you need to. But don't stay stuck in the grief. Keep your eyes on what's ahead. The more you release, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the higher you can rise. Letting go is a courageous act of self-love. It's choosing yourself, your growth, and your future over anything that keeps you stuck in the past. And when you let go, you don't just rebuild, you evolve. You create a life that's aligned with the person you're becoming, not the person you were. Motivation is a spark. It's exciting, it's uplifting, and it makes you feel unstoppable. But here's the catch: motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind, and when it's gone, you're left with a choice. Will you wait around for it to come back, or will you push forward without it? That's where discipline steps in. Discipline is what keeps you going long after the excitement has faded. It's the steady, unshakable force that carries you when your emotions try to hold you back. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not about those dramatic, high-energy moments where you feel like you can conquer the world. It's about showing up on the hard days, the days when you're tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. It's about choosing to stick to your commitments even when no one is watching and when the results aren't immediate. Think about an athlete training for a big game or a performer preparing for a show. The spotlight might be the goal, but the real work happens in the quiet moments when they're sweating it out in the gym, rehearsing late into the night, or practicing when they'd rather rest. That's discipline. It's the grind, the repetition, the unglamorous effort that lays the foundation for greatness. When you embrace discipline, you stop relying on fleeting bursts of motivation. You take control of your journey. You build habits that become second nature, and those habits drive your transformation. Each time you show up for yourself, even when it's hard, you've proven to yourself that you can be trusted. You're building self-respect, confidence, and a sense of resilience that no one can take away from you. And don't get it twisted, discipline doesn't mean being perfect. It's not about never missing a day or never slipping up. It's about bouncing back every time you falter. It's about saying, I made a mistake, but I'm not stopping here. Discipline is forgiving yourself, learning from your missteps, and continuing the climb. So when the excitement fades and the motivation runs dry, remember this: your commitment to discipline is what separates fleeting dreams from lasting success. It's not about waiting for the right feeling, it's about choosing the right action every single day. That's how you rebuild. That's how you win. When you're rebuilding yourself, it's easy to focus on the big picture, on the final goal, or the ultimate transformation you want to achieve. But the truth is, the big wins don't come overnight. They're the result of small, consistent victories that stack up over time. That's why it's so important to celebrate the small wins along the way. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. Maybe you got out of bed early for the first time in weeks. Maybe you chose to hit the gym instead of staying on the couch, or you spoke kindly to yourself when the old you would have spiraled into negativity. These might seem insignificant in the moment, but they're not. Each one is proof that you're moving forward, that you're doing the work, that you're showing up for yourself. Celebrating these small wins isn't about patting yourself on the back and saying, I'm done. It's about acknowledging your progress and fueling your momentum. It's about recognizing that every positive choice, every effort, every small action is building the foundation for something greater. When you celebrate these moments, you reinforce the belief that you're capable of change. You remind yourself that you're on the right path. Think of it like climbing a mountain. If you only focus on the peak, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and discouraged. But when you take a moment to look back at how far you've already come, it gives you the strength to keep going. Those little milestones matter. They're the proof that you're making progress, even when the summit still feels far away. And don't be afraid to make those celebrations meaningful. Reward yourself for your hard work. Maybe it's treating yourself to something small, taking a moment to reflect with gratitude, or sharing your win with someone who supports you. Whatever it is, let it be a reminder that you're moving in the right direction. Small wins aren't just about the moment, they're about building confidence and creating momentum. Every time you acknowledge your progress, you're reinforcing the habits and mindset that will carry you through the tougher days. Brick by brick, step by step, you're building something extraordinary. Keep celebrating those wins because each one brings you closer to the person you're becoming. Adversity isn't something you seek out, but it has a way of finding you. Life has its storms, moments that shake you to your core, test your resilience, and make you question your strength. It's in these moments that you truly discover what you're made of. Strength doesn't come from comfort, it comes from struggle. It's forged in the fire of challenges, pain, and hardship. Think about a diamond. It doesn't start out shining and flawless, it begins as a lump of carbon. Only under immense pressure and heat does it transform into something brilliant and unbreakable. That's what adversity does to you. It pushes you, it shapes you, and it molds you into a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. The moments you think will break you are often the ones that make you. When you're in the middle of the storm, it's hard to see the lesson or the strength that's being built. All you feel is the weight of it, the struggle, the frustration, the exhaustion. But those are the moments when growth is happening, even if it's invisible at first. Every time you face adversity and choose to keep going, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than your circumstances. You're showing yourself that you can weather the storm. Adversity isn't just a test, it's a teacher. It teaches you patience when progress feels slow. It teaches you courage when fear tries to take over. It teaches you determination when giving up seems easier. And most importantly, it teaches you that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. The tough times don't last forever, but the strength you gain from them does. That strength becomes a part of you, a reminder that you can handle whatever comes your way. So instead of fearing adversity, embrace it. Use it as a tool to rebuild yourself. Let it be the force that drives you to grow, to adapt, and to rise higher than you ever have before. The world's greatest stories, the most inspiring comebacks, and the strongest people were all forged in the fire of adversity. Your challenges aren't the end of the road, they're a stepping stone to something greater. Face them head on, find the strength within you, and keep moving forward. Because every storm you conquer only makes your foundation stronger. Your journey to rebuild yourself is not just about you. Yes, it's personal and deeply transformative, but it carries a ripple effect that goes far beyond what you might realize. When you rise from your challenges, when you overcome your struggles, and when you emerge stronger and more determined, you inspire others to believe that they can do the same. Your comeback story has the power to light a fire in someone else. Think about it. How many times have you been moved by someone else's strength? The story of someone who beat the odds, who refused to give up, who rebuilt their life against all obstacles. Those stories stick with us because they remind us of the human spirit's limitless potential. They show us what's possible when determination and resilience meet action. And now, you are writing one of those stories. When you rebuild yourself, you're not just changing your life, you're setting an example. People around you, your family, your friends, even strangers are watching, even if you don't realize it. They see your effort, your courage, and your growth, and it plants a seed in their minds. If they can do it, maybe I can too. Your actions can ignite hope in others, especially those who feel stuck, lost, or defeated. This isn't about pressure to perform or being perfect. It's about authenticity. It's about being real about your struggles and your victories. It's about showing that it's okay to fall as long as you get back up. People connect with honesty, with vulnerability, with the truth that rebuilding is messy, imperfect, but absolutely worth it. And here's the most powerful part: the more you inspire others, the more you inspire yourself. When you know your journey can help someone else, it fuels your determination to keep going. It adds meaning to your pain and purpose to your progress. Your comeback becomes bigger than just you. It becomes a source of hope and strength for the people around you. So, as you rebuild, remember this: you're not just changing your own life, you're creating a blueprint for others. You're showing them what's possible. You're proving that no matter how far someone falls, they can rise again. And when they see you rise, they'll start to believe that they can too. That's the power of your story. That's the power of rebuilding yourself, not just for you, but for the world around you. Rebuilding yourself is not a one-time event. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's not something you do once and then move on with your life. It's an ongoing journey, a lifelong process that continuously shapes you into a better version of yourself. This idea of constant growth can be a little intimidating, but it's also incredibly empowering because it means you're never done. The best version of you is always a work in progress, and that's something to embrace. The truth is, you're constantly evolving. The person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a week ago isn't the same person you are today. Every experience, every setback, every victory shapes you in some way. You don't reach a destination and say, okay, I'm done. I've rebuilt myself. Instead, you keep building, keep growing, keep learning from every moment. Think about how nature works. A tree doesn't stop growing once it reaches a certain height. It keeps growing, adapting to its environment, adjusting to the changing seasons. It grows new branches, sheds old leaves, and strengthens its roots. In the same way, you have the capacity for continual evolution. You're never stagnant unless you choose to be. Even on days when it feels like you're not making progress, know that you're still growing in ways you might not see yet. Part of this ongoing process is self-reflection. Rebuilding yourself means checking in with who you are and who you want to become, continuously. As you evolve, your values might shift, your goals might change, and your priorities might grow. And that's okay, it's natural. In fact, it's a sign of life. To evolve means to stay curious, to stay hungry for knowledge, for growth, for becoming the best version of yourself. And as you evolve, you'll encounter new challenges that require you to rebuild in new ways. Life doesn't stop testing you, but the beauty of ongoing growth is that you're better equipped to handle those tests. The more you rebuild, the more resilient you become. The more you evolve, the more you understand that each stage of life requires a new version of you. Rebuilding yourself isn't a linear journey. It's full of setbacks, breakthroughs, setbacks again, and moments of clarity. It's about being okay with change and welcoming it. Embrace the discomfort of growth. Trust that every challenge, every change, and every evolution is helping you become someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. So keep evolving, keep rebuilding. Don't look at yourself as a finished project, but as a masterpiece in progress. You're not just building your future, you're becoming it every single day. Rebuilding yourself is not a one-time task or a fixed destination. It's an ongoing, lifelong commitment to growth, learning, and evolving. Life is dynamic, and so are you. You might rebuild yourself at different stages, but the truth is, the process of becoming a better version of yourself never truly stops. You're not simply trying to fix something and move on. You're constantly reshaping, refining, and adapting to the person you're becoming with each new experience. Imagine it like a sculptor working on a piece of marble. Each day, the sculptor chips away at the stone, revealing more of the masterpiece within. But that masterpiece isn't created in one go. It takes time, patience, and repeated efforts. As you grow, you'll face new challenges, learn new lessons, and uncover new layers of yourself. This is the journey of self-rebuilding, ongoing, evolving, and constantly in progress. Ongoing growth also means embracing the fact that rebuilding yourself is a continuous cycle. There will be times when life challenges you to rebuild once again. And that's the beauty of it. You never truly reach a final end to your journey. There's always something new to learn, something more to achieve, and a deeper version of yourself to become. That's what makes life exciting and worth living. Rebuilding yourself is a lifelong adventure, and each stage is an opportunity to unlock more of your potential. The key is not to see this as a race or a finish line, but as a continuous flow. Every experience you have is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. With each lesson learned, each step forward, you're continuously evolving into someone even better than before. Embrace that journey. It's not only about who you are today, but who you're becoming tomorrow. When you set out to rebuild yourself, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking external validation. You might look to others for approval or measure your progress based on the opinions and expectations of people around you. But here's the truth: the only opinion that truly matters is your own. When you're rebuilding yourself, you have to shift the focus from seeking validation to validating yourself. Think about it. How often have you allowed someone else's words or actions to dictate how you feel about yourself? We live in a world that constantly tells us who we should be, what success should look like, and how we should live. But when you rebuild yourself, you're not living for anyone else's standards. You're living for your own. You're not looking for someone else to tell you that you're enough or that you're on the right path. You have to decide that for yourself. This shift is powerful. It's about learning to trust your own intuition, to recognize your own worth, and to believe that your journey, even with its imperfections, is valid. When you're true to yourself, your decisions, your growth, and your actions are grounded in what truly matters to you, not in the approval of others. You stop looking for someone else to tell you you're doing great, and instead you give yourself that reassurance. You start to acknowledge your own victories, big or small. You start to give yourself the credit for the progress you've made, and you become your own biggest cheerleader. Validating yourself isn't about being arrogant or dismissive of others. It's about being at peace with who you are and what you're doing. It's about having confidence in your journey even when no one else sees or understands it. It's about recognizing that your value isn't dependent on the recognition or validation from others. It's inherent in who you are, in the effort you put in, and in the work you're doing every single day to rebuild yourself. This self-validation is especially important on the tough days. On those days when you feel like you're not moving forward fast enough, or when you feel misunderstood or unsupported. It's your self-validation that will keep you grounded. It's on those days that you need to remind yourself that your worth doesn't depend on others. Your journey is yours alone, and you're on the right path because you're showing up, putting in the work, and choosing to grow. Beauty of self-validation is that it brings freedom. You stop seeking approval from others and you start living authentically, unapologetically. You trust yourself to make decisions that align with your values, your vision, and your purpose. You stop comparing your progress to someone else's because you know your timeline is unique. And in doing so, you empower yourself to keep rebuilding, not because you need someone else's permission, but because you believe in yourself. Rebuilding yourself is about reclaiming your power, and self-validation is the key to unlocking that power. When you choose to value your own growth, when you recognize your own worth, you become unstoppable. You become the person who doesn't wait for others to tell them they're enough. You already know that you are. And that's where true transformation begins. You are your own biggest supporter. And when you believe in yourself, the world will start to believe in you too. As you stand at the edge of your journey, whether you're just beginning to rebuild yourself or you've been at it for a while, remember this: you are not defined by your past, your mistakes, or the struggles you faced. You are defined by the choice you make today to rise, to rebuild, and to evolve. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Every setback is just a setup for a bigger comeback. And every step you take forward is a victory in itself. The process isn't easy, but it's yours. No one else can walk this path for you. And what's most powerful, you already have everything inside of you that you need to keep going. So don't wait for the perfect moment or for someone else to give you permission. Validate yourself. Celebrate your small wins. Trust the process. And keep moving forward. Your story isn't over yet, it's just getting started. I want you to ask yourself, who do you want to become? Because the power to rebuild yourself, to rise above, and to live your fullest life is within you. The choice is yours. And I believe with everything in me that you have what it takes to make it happen. Now, take the first step. The rest of your journey starts today. Let's rebuild. Let's rise. As you stand at the crossroads of this journey, take a moment to realize that rebuilding yourself isn't just a process, it's a statement. It's a declaration that you are not defined by your past, that you are not bound by the mistakes you've made or the struggles you've encountered. It's a choice, a powerful decision to move forward, to evolve, and to become the person you were always meant to be. But here's the thing, this process won't always be easy. There will be days when you doubt yourself, days when you wonder if the struggle is worth it, days when you question if the version of yourself you're trying to build is even possible. And in those moments, you have a choice. You can either let those doubts define you, or you can rise above them. You can remind yourself that growth is messy, progress is often invisible in the moment, and the journey doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. Remember, the road you're on isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about taking one step forward, even when the path is unclear. It's about showing up on the hard days, trusting that every bit of effort is leading you towards something greater. You might not always see the finish line, but know this: every choice you make to rebuild, every small victory you claim, and every setback you overcome is laying the foundation for a future that's stronger, bolder, and brighter than anything you can imagine right now. So, I ask you again, who do you want to become? Because that's the most important question in your life. It's not about seeking approval from others or measuring yourself against anyone else's timeline. It's about looking inside, connecting with your deepest desires, and choosing to build the life that reflects your true self. You already have everything within you to make this happen. You've been through enough already to know that you are resilient, that you have the strength to rise again, and that you can break through any barrier in your path. This is your time. Your story isn't over. You're writing it every single day, with every decision, every action, every moment of courage. And I want you to know this: you are capable of more than you realize. The power to rebuild yourself lies in your hands, and the choice to do so is entirely yours. Don't wait for the world to tell you it's time. Don't wait for a sign or for things to feel perfect. The time is now. Your journey is unfolding right in front of you. So take that first step. Embrace the uncertainty. Trust the process. And let's rebuild. Let's rise. You're not just creating a better version of yourself, you're creating the life you've always dreamed of. You've got this. Now go out there and show the world just how unstoppable you are. The best is yet to come.